welcome you all to MEDIANOW. Masters of the Revolution. We are delighted to bring this conference together. This is an annual event for us. It's a day of learning and networking to our membership and to the advertising community at large. This past year, we went out to influencers throughout the media and marketing communities and asked, what keeps you up at night? This half-day conference is a result of those conversations, aimed at addressing the challenges media executives face as they transform into marketing solution providers, and how agencies and marketing media companies all leverage assets in mobile, social, and local marketing. We also took a glance forward to see exciting new ventures looming on the horizon. We hope you leave today with some new insights and tools that will tactically help you do your jobs better. And now it's my great pleasure that I introduce Audrey Siegel. She is an Ad Club board member and president of TargetCast TCM and chair of today's event. Audrey has been dedicated to this event for over 15 years. It's an amazing testament to the way people get involved. As a not-for-profit organization, we really rely on the community to help us move the needle, and she has done more than her share. So thank you, Audrey. She has dedicated an immeasurable amount of time and brain power to put together what I think is going to be an inspirational day for everyone. It's our pleasure that we have you here today. Let me just introduce Audrey and we'll get started with the program. Please welcome her.
So, as so many of the things that I do, today actually started with a song. Because I tend to be very inspired by our popular culture and the things that happen around us. And so I was thinking, well, what is the theme for today's event? Well, what should it be? And I thought, everybody says they want a revolution, right? Well, we are in the midst of one. We're in the midst of a communication revolution, social revolution, just an interpersonal revolution. And I thought, well, what better theme than to build today's event around than our own personal advertising and communications revolution. So in creating our program, I thought, let's bring together what I like to call the masters of the revolution, those people who are really putting themselves out there, personally, professionally, on behalf of their brands, their companies, the media, to really take a chance and create meaningful change. It doesn't always work the first time. It may not always work the second time. But we learn from when we fail, and then we take that forward, and we try again. And before we know it, we are creating real change. What I expect that you are going to see and hear and participate in today are conversations about real change in our industry. And I'm very excited by all of the people that are participating today. I counted it up. There are 27 different speakers, panelists, moderators. That's a lot of wonderful, revolutionary leaders in our business. And for every 27 that we have here today, there are many more behind them, in front of them, supporting them, sharing with them. And I hope that many of you will be inspired today to really kind of take that torch forward and really take our communication revolution to the next level. We encourage you to actively participate today. I assume that you're going to be inspired to tweet and to blog and to ask questions. You'll have the opportunity to ask questions after the general session panel and then during the breakout sessions, which will be a more intimate opportunity to really dig into some higher level issues. We also hope, as Gina said, that you'll continue your own learning after this, becoming part of the Ad Club family, but also talking to the people that you meet here today, continuing the conversation with some of the companies that you may never have been exposed to before, but now really dig in deep and learn more and become more involved there. For those who tweet, and I must read this, be sure to mention at Ad Club New York and or use our event hashtag MEDIANOW 2013 or 2013. But also please remember to silence your phones. It's funny, we used to say please turn off your phones. We don't say that anymore because we want you to keep them on, because we want you to actively engage, but please do silence them. We're going to focus on the consumer to start with, because in all the work that we do, They are at the core. And so consumer behavior, whether it's around a product, a community, communication, really drives all of our efforts. And so with that in mind, please join me in welcoming our opening keynote, Alice Sylvester, who is the Chief Operating Officer of the Media Behavior Institute. Alice?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here this morning with you. We're going to leverage consumer psyche this morning, just a little bit. I'm going to tell you a little about the research that we're doing right now and some ideas we have for how marketers can take advantage of things that are going on in the consumers' lives on a day-to-day basis. So why do you want to study the psyche? We certainly know it exists. We talk to people in qualitative, we get an understanding of who they are. We do a lot of tracking studies. But the psyche is a really important component of behavior. Moods and emotions have a profound impact on consumer behavior. They impact the way people think about things. They impact the way you remember and can retrieve. So when we're in the advertising business, our job is to make people remember us, and then when they're in the store, be able to drag up the message that we gave them 2 weeks ago. So the psyche and understanding where people are, where they're coming from, is really important today. USA Touchpoints is a service that is a nationally projectable study of 5 dimensions of consumers' daily life. So where are you? Here we're in this meeting. Who are you with? And the kinds of activities that people are doing, the media that people are using, and their moods and emotions. And we study this every single half hour through the course of the day and through the course of the week. And what that allows us to do is have a very unique view into the sequencing of events, the sequencing of moods through people's lives, and the kind of activities and the kind of people that they're engaging with throughout the week. It's an app-based system. Every half hour, respondents to our study update their status and tell us all this information about them. At the moment, we have 2,000 adults in our sample, and it's drawn from the GfK MRI survey of the American consumer. And what that means is that it's a really high quality sample and that we have all the additional information about people's products and category and attitudes that they've already provided MRI. So it's a very, very extensive look at consumers and consumer behavior. How do we measure the psyche? Well, we have 17 different emotional mindsets that we ask people to weigh in on every single half hour. We study mood on a 5-point scale: good mood, bad mood. And then our emotions run the continuum from pleasure to pain, and they include a nice little midpoint. And I like this midpoint because it's sort of like, So that's the midpoint there. It's called indifferent. Don't say that to me. Say, I want you to be happy and excited that I'm here. Not, and then we have our negative emotions, which are very entertaining to look at, actually, and see when they emerge across the course of a consumer's day. So I'm going to bring you 3 unique insights into the American psyche. And we were able to work with George Lowenstein, the behavioral economist at Carnegie Mellon, who did a lot of really interesting analysis of our data. The first thing is that for all practical purposes, this is a pretty happy country. 76% of Americans report being happy at any point during the day. Oops. But turns out we're only happy about a third of the time. So, when you read these studies that say the happiness index and we're very, very happy, yes, we're happy, but we're also a whole bunch of other things. So 2/3 of the day, we feel something different, something besides happiness. And this chart shows you the number of hours and minutes spent per day in a state of a different emotional mindset. So the top 2 emotions in this country are happiness and contented. Confidence comes in next. Hope, exhaustion. Exhaustion is the 4th or 5th highest emotional mindset we have in this country. And you see all the way down at the bottom are some of the negative emotions of angry and sad. When we look across the course of the week, we see that we don't get very happy very early in the week. The best we got. What day is today? Today's contented. Okay, so actually get happy, or to have that be our dominant emotion. I love this slide. And one of the things behind that is that the reason we're not happy is because some of these negative emotions weigh in very early on in the week. The highest levels of boredom can be found on Monday and Tuesday. Overwhelmedness, indifference, frustration, and anger. See those, they suppress our happiness. So by the end of the week, we hit relieved on Thursday. I think it would be Wednesday, remember hump day? People get excited and loving on the weekend, which is very nice. We cycle in and out of these negative states and positive states. So, I don't know if this is a surprise to you, but it was a surprise to me that men are in better moods than women, in general, on average. I'm glad we're having fun. I am glad we're having fun. This is great. This is a really interesting chart from Carnegie Mellon, and what they did was, this is a plot of every single half hour of the day, by day of week, when men are in better moods than women. You can see almost every single hour of the day, men are in a better mood than women, except Friday night. Right? Friday night. Why is this funny? I remember I had presented this one time and a woman said, "What are we so angry about?" Well, here's the root of this, I think, is men tend to be a whole lot more confident than women do, and women tend to be exhausted, right? So there's a lot of truth in this data. So we have exhaustion operating. We see exhaustion coming in at 10:30 in the morning on a Saturday for young moms. It's really an interesting energy, fatigue. I think we have an energy crisis among American women right now. So these are the kinds of things that you need to keep in mind when you're sending messages, really happy, really loud messages at 10:30 in the morning. Women may not want to hear it, or may not want to be talked to that way. So the next part of the presentation is a consumer. I think this is kind of a surprising finding, that the consumers need to be in positive moods before going shopping. We've heard a lot about retail therapy, about I'm going to go max out my credit cards, but what our data show is that compared to the mood that people were in a half hour before they went shopping, did shopping elevate their mood? So when you see people are shopping online, men's moods were elevated doing that. Grocery store, men kind of get a little bit of a rush out of going to the grocery store. Women aren't buying that at all. But going to the mall really elevates women's moods. So compared to the half hour before, and then they're shopping. And then when they're doing other shopping in specialty stores, women kind of like that. So if we look at the emotional mindsets that are operating at the time, we see that women are happy before they go shopping. They are not so much contented, but a sense of relief can drive them to shop, and excitement, a little bit of the anticipation of going shopping in the mall, not the grocery store. And in terms of the negative emotions, I love this, it's so dramatic. There does not appear to be a negative emotion associated with going shopping in the next half hour. People are not going to go shopping when they tend to be exhausted or overwhelmed. It's just not a good headspace for people. They're doing something else. They aren't looking to entertain themselves shopping or get things done. Boredom is not a predictor of whether people will go shopping. Worried for women is not a good idea. So this whole idea, kind of a radical idea, that people have to be in relatively good moods and have a good frame of mind to go shopping. Let me just show you a tiny little case study of what you might do with this. So we're going to talk about millennials, and we're going to talk about a packaged goods product, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how to activate against this. So millennials shop a whole lot later than other people, than older people. Most of their shopping takes place later in the day, so that's an interesting learning. We also see a couple of peaks of when they shop, and we'll be looking at that. So at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, where were these millennials before they went shopping, and what were they doing? So they were doing housework, they were conversing with their friends, they were having a meal. It's 12:30 in the afternoon. Some of them just woke up. Some of them came from school. Tend to be on their own, more likely than older adults, to be with their friends. So it's a pretty unique group of people who are interested in socializing and not so likely to be with their partners or spouses. So before they went shopping, what kind of mood and emotion were they experiencing? Here we saw contented is our dominant emotion, and happy. But judging by the little indexes on the top, compared to older people, they are more likely to be exhausted. Oh, it's crazy how that comes in. Excited, indifferent, and bored. So this is a bored and kind of time period for millennials who will be in the grocery store in a half hour. So if you were to communicate with millennials on the path to their grocery purchase, how would you do it? Well, we know because of the sequencing of their media exposure in the half hour before they went shopping, they could be reached with AM/FM radio. It's amazing that we have basically forgotten about radio, but it is a very big part of day-to-day life. About a third of the millennials can be reached with mobile text, social networking, that technology that we hear a lot about online, that technology we hear a lot about, sorry, you know, the new stuff. And 25% of them can be reached with streaming, audio, emails, and satellite radio, which is really crazy. So it's a very active, kind of on-the-go, music-oriented group of consumers. Digital plays a big role in the lives of millennials in this particular category that we looked at. So if we were to step back and take everything that we learned today, millennials are going to make grocery trips. They're not on a big errand run. They come from social environments. They're with their friends. So maybe the grocery store should enable their social life or have a social component to it. They identify with new media, as we know, and they share opinions about their products and services. And so social media can be used to engage these people, but so can traditional media. They're bored, they're exhausted, and they're frustrated really early in the day. I don't know what we're going to do about this, but we have to do something, and I think the ad community can do something. So understanding the components of the mindset can help boost their confidence, bring their energy back, and get positive thoughts that are necessary for shopping. So that's how we can leverage the millennial psyche. That's how we can leverage the psyche. I think it's revolutionary, and I'm glad you had a really good time while I presented. Thank you.